steady, and so I apologize. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Dr. Thomason, roll call.
President Reese, please let the record show that we have 3 board members here tonight, and Russ Little is not with us this evening.
Thank you. We're going to have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
President Reese,
Mrs. Whitener,
I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
any questions? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Was that you too?
Yes.
Thank you. We do set this time for anyone who requests to speak to the governing board. We don't have any? Okay. Then we'll move on. 6.0, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Thomason?
Good evening, President Reese, members of the board. Tonight we do have a presentation from our CTE administrator, Ms. Annette Schmidt. Please come on up, and so we can get started with our CTE Sports Medicine Program video.
Rake across those fibers. Okay, so we get a knot in there, and it's a larger knot, and I'm using my fingertips to go across those fibers to break up. My name is Stacy Fentress. I teach sports medicine at Higley High School. The goal of the sports medicine program at Higley High School is to educate students in career and technical education. We want to get students ready for the college-bound student, also to be out there and they could work at entry-level positions in sports medicine or in healthcare. In sports medicine at Higley High School, we start off with medical terminology. We then start going over anatomy and physiology, and they learn diseases and injuries. We learn a lot of the bones, the ligaments, the muscles, and then they start learning their second semester a lot of the injuries that athletes and our age population can encounter. Some students go into internship in their 3rd year, and I have a student right now who's at an outpatient clinic working in physical therapy. I've had students work with the athletic trainer on site, and I also have students that then go on to college level, and they start studying athletic training, physical therapy, and quite a few nursing students.
Alrighty, my name's Madison. I'm in sports med and I go to Higley High School. I took sports med because I wanted to get a head start on my career and for the future. I knew from probably since I was little that I'd be heading into the medical field just from family. And so already like finding this class, I wish I had found it freshman year, but finding this class has definitely helped me pursue my future dreams that I have and of becoming a nurse for oncology. Most beneficial from this class has been the hands-on techniques that we do, from being able to do massage and then learning how to assess injuries and be able to go and shadow the athletic trainer has definitely helped be able to get the real feel of how it all works.
Hi, my name is Jamie Crumbaker. I am the sports medicine instructor here at Williamsfield High School. Our goal of the sports medicine program here at Williamsfield High School is to give kids who are interested in health career professions an opportunity to just get an introductory into the materials. So kids interested in athletic training, sports medicine, physical therapy, strength and conditioning, becoming a nurse or a doctor, they have a chance to learn basic anatomy, first aid and CPR, and within the first year of the program, we learn basic injuries. So we break the body down from the ankle, moving all the way up through, going back over the bones, the soft tissue structures, and then injuries and how to treat them. So our goal of the program is to just give them an introductory into what is the human body and how do we take care of it. But we like to give them from sports medicine point of view. So my background is athletic training. I used to teach at, I used to work at colleges and universities, so I'm able to give them real life stories from a professional point of view. So our program is both, we do notes, but we also have a lot of hands-on components. So when we go over how to evaluate an ankle, the kids will take notes on what an ankle evaluation is, and then they will actually learn what to do. So when I give them an ankle evaluation, I'll demonstrate it, and then they'll have a chance to practice it. And when they're doing that, they're learning which structures are they testing, so which ligaments actually injured. As we get going, we'll teach them how to tape ankles or tape wrists, and when they're doing that, they learn how to stabilize a joint, just as they would if they were in a college athletic training program or on the sidelines of a college field. We also teach them basic first aid skills, so how to stop bleeding, how to splint an injury. In the first year class, we go over ACE wraps, so how to wrap a groin, how to wrap a hamstring strain, so the kids are learning how to help prevent them. So maybe they don't go on, but if they get injured at another point in their life, they have a chance to take these skills they have and continue using them throughout their life.
I'm Kayla Olson. I'm a junior, and this is my third year of sports med. I took sports med to get more involved in the athletics and how people get injured and learn more about that and how to help them. I play softball. I've been playing softball my whole high school career, and I am the football and basketball manager, and I love to help out with that and help the teams. It's definitely taught me a lot on how to help with injuries and how to fix them, and definitely keep the athletes going, and psychological help too as well. I plan on joining it with my biotech class and becoming a biomedical technician, or going into sports therapy or physical therapy of that nature. I'd recommend it because it's a lot of hands-on, and you also get notes with it, but it definitely teaches you a lot about how the anatomy works. And I know some people who take anatomy that say it helps tremendously and that they're acing the class with 100%.
President Reese, members of the board, this is a preview of our sports medicine program, and this will go up on our website to help recruit and retain students within our district.
Sure. Would you mind coming back up to the mic just for a second, please? I just want to tell you, you have a wonderful program. You share with the instructors at Higley and Williamsfield what an outstanding job they're doing, please.
I would be glad to do that.
A
Yes.
couple questions. Is this a dual enrollment program?
Yes.
Perfect. So it's for both levels, both first and second year dual, or where are we at with dual on this? So they're getting college credit?
They are earning college credit, and I believe it is for both
Both?
beginning and second year. Not positive about beginning. I know for second year they do have dual enrollment.
And I saw your program presentation at the Academic Blitz, and I saw the large amount of people that were coming to your program. So thank you very much. The community appreciates it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
I have one question.
Yes.
As far as legislative decisions, is Is this a program that they can earn a certificate, or is this a program that's going to be in limbo because?
Currently, they do earn the CPR certificate, and I believe it will count if you look at what the legislation says. It has to help them to get a job that they would not be able to get otherwise, and there are some entry-level jobs that they cannot get without a CPR certification. So we're hoping that that fulfills that, but we are looking as well at getting personal training certificates for the kiddos,
Okay.
which would also give them that opportunity as they move out of high school.
Is that list solidified right now, or is it constantly changing? And
The certification list is constantly changing.
Okay.
And programs that don't have certifications are, we can still earn funding for them. There's just a different track we have to take with them. The certification is definitely the easiest way to go. And it helps the kids be prepared for those entry-level positions that require certifications. So, yeah, any questions? Excellent, thank you.
Upcoming events. This Friday, March 26th, we have our spring holiday, so there'll be no school. And then Wednesday, April 13th, we'll have our work study at 5:30 and board meeting at 6:30. Saturday, April 23rd, we do have our Fine Arts Festival, which I would like to invite everybody here to attend. And that'll be from 9 to 12 p.m. at Higley High School. And we'll be highlighting many of our arts programs within the district at that time. And then Wednesday, April 27th, work study at 5:30 and board meeting at 6:30. And then Thursday, April 28th, we have our Teacher of the Year Awards Dinner. That starts at 5:30 at the Doubletree Elegante Conference Center. So we hope to see you there too. Thank you.
Thank you. For board comments.
Sure. Today, President Reese and myself went on a tour over at Gateway Elementary School. What a great community that they have there. I enjoyed the interaction with the students and the programs that they have there, and I just please thank the maintenance people as well as at school. They do an incredible job, so we were very pleased, and please thank the principal and the staff at that time on that. Also, I want to do a plug. I think next Wednesday is a STEAM night at two schools here. Principals from, could you, I'd like to make sure that we have the opportunity. I think we got a flyer for that for both Cortina, right? And yeah, and for next Wednesday, right? No, who's having the STEAM? You had yours. Who's having the STEAM next week? Coronado's having STEAM. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Cortina's was so successful. You're just doing it again.
It's
Next week.
But I think Coronado's transportation, correct? So very excited to see. I think you're having a lot of vehicles and modes of transportation there, so it'll be exciting for the community to come and take a look at that too as well. So I would like, last month I went to a conference. It was the United States Hispanic Conference, and one of the speakers talked about people that make a change in this world, and how at that time when people who were making a change were seen as rabble-rousers, and those were the labels at that time. So I'd like to present this book I got this autographed copy for you, Dr. Thomason, for being, I want you to be a rabble-rouser, okay? Okay. It's autographed in the second column, just for you. Yeah, I have even a picture with me with the author and the illustrator too. So thank you again, and I remember rabble rouser. Okay.
Thank you, President Reese, Mr. Wadovich, and Mrs. Whitener. We do have some of our Gateway Point parents here tonight that I would like to say thank you for being here on a regular basis. It's greatly appreciated.
It was a really good tour. We
Excellent.
spent a lot of time
What was
with
that
them.
in kindergarten group? They had that book, that little pad, that black. What was it called?
Boogie board.
Boogie board.
That was pretty cool. It's like an electronic, I want to say Etch-a-Sketch, but they could, yeah, it was really cool. The kids were showing us. They were happy to do that. So, I just wanted to say that this last weekend I was able to travel with Williamsfield to a regional competition for their winter guard. They did okay, but they were competing with guards from all across the nation as well as some from Canada. So it was very interesting for them to compete and to watch and to learn, and so it was a good trip, and I think they learned a lot by watching these other winter guards. And their state regionals are coming up on April 1st and 2nd, and Sossaman, Cooley, Higley, and Williamsfield are all competing, so that should be fun. They all usually do really well in our state competition, so that will be exciting. Some will compete on Friday, some will compete on Saturday. So I'm jumping ahead a little because it's not on our information because we haven't gotten it. For a while I've been wanting to publicly thank, and I don't have specific names, over the break, well, right before winter break, let me clarify, somebody had contacted Mr. Edgar from Texas. And they had, you know about this one, they had band uniforms that their school was getting rid of. And they did a search to find schools that had purple and the letter C. Their old band uniforms they were auctioning them. This mom wanted her son's uniform. So she bought what she thought was only his for like $5, got the entire band's uniform and garment bags and tuxedos. I mean, huge. And like I said, they did a Google search to find bands that had the color purple and the letter C. And they reached out to Mr. Edgar and said, "Do you want these?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely, because Cooley can use them." So Mr. Edgar did brave that nice weather that they had over winter break and drove to Texas and picked them up. So we do have a letter from the family that donated them, but it was clearly a donation, and they really wanted just to make sure their school was getting all new uniforms. So they wanted to make sure they were going to good use. So now Cooley has some really cool band uniforms, and it was a lot. I mean, it was boxes upon boxes. Had no idea what she was donating. So it was really cool. So I'll get the specific information. I've been meaning to bring it up, and every time it slips my mind. So I would like us to send them a thank you letter, because that was really nice of them to do that research and to contact us to make that donation, because that was huge. So.
And can we see the band in their new uniforms, and they can display
No pressure, Dr. Mallory.
We'll come to you.
But and in it, even like I said, it even included like tuxedos and stuff for concert band, and I mean it was a big thing. So I just wanted, finally I remembered, I wrote it down, and I just wanted to mention that. So it's a really cool story. So it doesn't happen very often. Are we good?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for letting me ramble. Usually we cover that in gifts, but like I said, it's not on that part. So anyway, we'll go to 7.0, consent agenda.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that we approve tonight's consent agenda, items 7.1 to 7.7.
Any questions, discussion, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Dr. Nance.
President Reese, with your approval of the consent agenda, you have just appointed our newest administrator here in the district. I'd like to introduce the new assistant principal for Bridges Elementary, Jeff Bickle. Jeff, if you could stand, and I believe you may have some folks with you tonight. If you'd like to introduce them, that would be great.
Thank you, Dr. Nance. I brought half the crowd, so bear with me. This is my amazing wife, Diane, my parents, Cory Cherry, my brother Cameron, and then my wife's name, Emily Chris.
Congratulations.
Thank you for bringing your family. We're excited that you're going to the Bridges, and it should be fun and exciting. Sherry will keep you. So, also on our consent agenda, as we were talking about gifts and donations, I just wanted to note some of the gifts that we have received that's on our agenda. So we received $2,000 for Bridges Elementary. Look at there, it's not even open, and look at that. From the Bridges at Gilbert Community Association. So we'd really like to thank them. That's an awesome, great gift. And Target and Wells Fargo, they continuously give back to our schools, and they've made some great donations to Power Ranch. And our anonymous, whoever you are, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, so we're going to go on to 9.0. We have an informational item for our governing board financial report for February of 16. It's just a monthly report we get that keeps us up to date on where we are, budget, and any questions, Ms. Deuce?
Can I just ask a question? In regards to Prop 123, does that just go straight, is it a straight base increase and it just goes into M&O?
It does not go into M&O, it's a separate fund.
Prop 123 will be a separate.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was on 301. Sorry.
All these numbers. If Prop 123 were to pass, does it go straight into the base as an M&O?
It does, yes.
Okay. And how retroactively it will go into the 15-16 budget?
Yes. It will be after the May 17th election. We will receive the money before June 30.
Okay, so we will have a sum that will be this year, and then July 1 fiscal year.
It will be wrapped into our budget.
So will there be two
Yes.
two deposits within
Yes,
a couple months' time?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. So as a information item regarding our budgets, Prop 123 will have an impact on our budget. That is fact. A positive impact. That is fact. Feel free to share.
We were also in the process, Ms. Deuce is working on getting a committee together so that we can create a plan as to what that money will go towards, what we'll do with that money. That committee is coming together and we'll be meeting soon. So we will have some information to report, hopefully not too long. Thank you for putting that together. 9.2, another information item, our summer improvement projects.
President Reese, members of the board, it's my pleasure this evening, accompanied by Mr. Ben Buholtz, to present to you our proposal for some maintenance projects for this coming summer. And we're going to present together, so we'll just kind of go back and forth. Just my advancer to work here. Let me just see. And I cannot. Would you please advance the slide for us? Okay. So for this coming summer, we're proposing 4 areas of projects. The first being exterior painting, the second being some floor upgrades, third, energy management systems, and the fourth being some new school marquees. And first of all, exterior painting. Please advance.
There's 3 facilities that we're looking at upgrading the exterior painting. Higley High School, Higley Center for the Performing Arts and Power Ranch Elementary. Please advance. Higley High School. Let's go ahead and advance again. This picture is sort of hard to see in this setting right here, but we can see as you walk around the facility a lot of aging. The paint has surpassed its lifetime, and now it's time that we need a paint. Go ahead and advance. There's some more pictures of that. Let's advance.
What is the timeline on this?
I'm sorry?
What is the timeline on beginning painting projects?
Farther in the slide,
Okay,
I'll
I'll
show
do
you
this.
the
Okay.
recommendations.
Sorry.
Go ahead and advance. We can all see a lot of our gates are heavily oxidized, rust appearing, so we need to upgrade all that. Go ahead and advance.
Is there any funding from SFB for Higley High that we've determined?
SFB currently is out of funds. We attend all the meetings. They exhausted a month ago. So statewide, we're probably, the state of Arizona is estimated about $2 billion of estimated repairs needed. They're funding the SFB yearly at about $16 million.
Right.
So
We're moving on. We're not waiting for them any longer, correct?
correct.
Okay.
President Reese, members of the board, there are some areas that need to be addressed at this time, because if we let them go further, it could cause more and further damage to some of our buildings and some of our interiors. And so there are some areas that we feel are important we need to go ahead to address.
Let's go ahead and advance. Another picture of performing arts. I don't know if any of you have driven by. There's a lot of splotchiness on it. Let's go ahead and advance through. In that picture, you can sort of see it. Let's advance. And there again. Go ahead and advance. Power Ranch. Power Ranch is due. This will be a great one for the community to get the stucco repaired and the paint done this summer. So let's go ahead and advance it.
Mr. Buchholz, I just want to say for the community and people who do watch these videos, that these are state schools that were built by the School Facilities Board, and it is their job to maintain them with building renewal, which they have not funded for years. So it's hard to see these pictures, and we take it to heart because we don't want our facilities to look like this, but yet we have continued broken funding systems from our state legislators. So I know people, they look at our minutes and they watch these, and it's very important for them to understand that that is not our expectation for our schools. And we appreciate the community for passing our bonds so we can do the job that the state's not doing. It almost sounds like a former governor, do the job that so-and-so's not doing. So it's, and we hear a lot of, we hear complaints from the community. It's hard for them to understand that we try and wait and see if the legislature is going to add any more funding for building renewal. And what will be interesting, if it's straight into base over or M&O, I mean, we can use M&O how we would like for maintenance and such. But the purpose for bonds is for maintenance and upgrades. But in this case, too, it's frustrating because they should be taking care of those state school facility board buildings, which are all the ones you're listing.
So true, Ms. Whitener. For over 20 years, the SFB has fully funded requests 1 year out of over 20. So,
President Reese, members of the board, to put numbers in perspective, this year the district additional assistance to help take care of some of these things should have been approximately $500,000. The state has reduced it by 90%, and so we got about $500,000 instead of the $5 million we should have got.
Oh, 500 versus 5 million.
500,000 is what we received. The district's allocation from the state's compensation formulas would have been 5 million for our district.
Which they still keep the formulas in place as placeholders. Correct.
Thank you. The second area is actually the flooring upgrades, and for Santan and Coronado Elementary, if we'd advance the slide. So first of all, at Santan, what we're looking at is carpet replacement, and a proposal that has us looking at a different setting in the hallways, looking at what we have in some of our newer facilities with the polished concrete, and advance to Coronado, and the same at Coronado, so new carpet and the carpet squares that we have seen in the new campuses with, again, polished concrete, and especially the halls that we see right now. And we understand that it's hard because we have a number of campuses that really would benefit, and so we're doing our best to identify schools in the most need, knowing that we'll keep this process going, and that we'll, our hope is to get to all the schools in need, but we're targeting specific campuses for this summer to address that, with the idea that we're going to keep that momentum moving forward to, in the next few years, address as many of those issues as we possibly can. Advance to the next one.
Energy management systems. About 6 years ago, Higley upgraded and went to a platform, a solid platform that we were uniform across the board. We used to have 8 different logins. We had to travel to 3 different sites. So we upgraded to a solid platform. 2 years ago, we had 4 schools left that we needed to upgrade. We upgraded 3. We'd like to this year finish the upgrade to Higley traditional. That way, all our systems are current and functioning how they should.
And finally, advance the slide. The last area, just with curb appeal and seeing that we're competing, as we all know, very competitive nature out there for students. And we've had a couple campuses recently that had successfully upgraded marquees, and so we have a rotation where we're looking at over the time, doing a couple of those per year, and we've identified the 2 in most need. Also, this is Power Ranch from the one side that the sun shines out, as you can see, and then Advance as well. You can see Chaparral's as well to address those 2 marquees this coming year, again with the rotation. So when we're all done, we would look at having all of those looking uniform. And then Advance. Our projected costs really, this is estimates based on what we've had out there, but we would certainly follow the proper procurement process. And this is what we're estimating and looking at utilizing bond funds that's subject to the sale and that process approved by the board. But that's what we've presented is what we're looking at this point in time. Advance.
So the question was asked about life cycle costs. Our average life cycle cost by the SFB, State Facility Board, shows that, for example, Higley High School exterior paint, the average life is 7 years. The current age of that paint is 15. So
It's never been painted since it's been built.
So as we look down through, we see that it's time. We need to get this done.
And again, this would be just the start for us, looking at addressing these particular campuses. And you'll see that, we're not focusing just on one, but we're spreading that out with the idea that we'd come back and continue this momentum, through the next few years to really address as many of these issues as we can moving forward. And we know that schools have needs, and we're working to balance all those and really identifying those most at need and hitting those ones first, and then coming back to work through those other campuses.
When will the work begin?
We would begin as quickly as we can when the students leave in the summer, and with some of those projects, we may be able to continue on when kids come back. But we'd get going, late May and work through it, although we have a shortened summer. But our goal would be to address as much of that as we can through the summer months. Advance just to the last one. If there are any other questions for the board, we can answer that at this time.
Oh, how many Eagle Scouts can you get up there? No, we appreciate, what you guys do and how well you've worked with the communities and how much the community has stepped up and taken care of. But the community has also, given us the latitude to step up and take care of it with the initiatives that they've passed. And unfortunately, it's still not enough to do everything that we need to all at one time. But this will be exciting. I know the community will be very excited to see some of those things happening.
We look to bring back our Eagle Scout people from this year, and actually the next 2 meetings we look to recognize those groups, and we have a lot, so we have to split them up into 2 meetings, but we're going to bring them back to recognize them because they do and have played a big part in the process that is constantly ongoing. But we appreciate immensely the board's support as we work to keep our buildings looking good and making those improvements as we move forward.
I'd say probably with all our Eagle Scout projects and the other groups, we probably have had near 1,500 volunteers this year alone. So that's a great outreach from the community.
Yep. I wanted to ask, the painting, are we doing it in-house, or are you outsourcing or getting temp work just for the bigger
Outsource.
pieces?
That'd be an outsource.
A total outsource? Okay.
The height of the HCPA center, the quality, the amount of time we have, we don't have in-house resources to do that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you for putting that together. All right. So we're going to go on to 9.3, information, community education registration process and rate increase. Dr. Fowler.
President Reese, members of the board, at this time it's my pleasure to introduce Karen Hearn, our Director of Community Education, and as well as Alan McGowan, who are going to come and bring some information about some proposed registration and procedure changes for this coming school year.
Good evening. We've decided in community education it's time to upgrade our registration procedures. This has been kind of a difficult year because the parents are just experiencing the 2 weeks in October, the 2 weeks at Christmas, and this wonderful month of March. And they don't understand why they're paying the same amount for their kids' club every month. We only charge them for the days, the 160 days that are in session, but it's really confusing. So we've decided it's time to go online, come up with a program where they can pay for only the days they want. They can pick the calendar for whatever, and they can come 1 day, 2 days, 3, 5, whatever. So Alan's going to show you what we've come up with. I do want to always tell you that we'll still work with people in our office. We're trying to get away from them all coming in with a big registration packet, but the ones who still want to do it, they can come in, and kind of as an incentive, we're not going to charge a $50 registration fee. So we're trying to make it simpler, let them understand that they really are only paying for the days, because then we come in with the camps and we charge them additional fees for that, and it's too much. So Alan's going to walk through the PowerPoint, and then you can ask us questions. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Alan McGowan from Community Education. You can go to the next slide, please. So, as Karen mentioned, we're here to propose a change in our registration procedure for our before and after school daycare. But by as an extension of the registration procedure change, it's a change to the rates as well. The reasons for the change mainly is our current procedure is just inconvenience for both parents and staff. Currently, we only take paper copy registration packets for all Kids Club participants. This means that parents fill out an 8-page registration packet for each child, include emergency contact information, immunization records, and physically bring that information to our office, which is a general inconvenience, but since we operate during normal business hours, it's a bigger inconvenience to our working parents. In addition to the inconvenience to parents, it's very time-consuming for our community education staff. Once we receive a packet from a parent or guardian, we have to manually input all of that information, child's name, parent's name, address, email, phone number, what program they're in, into our online tracking system. We have over 2,000 students enrolled in our daycare programs, so you can imagine how much time we spend every year just inputting information. The inconvenience to parents and the wasted staff time would be solved by adding an online registration option. There are reasons we have not done this already, and they basically have to do with software limitations. The software company that we use has upgraded their system, so we now have the capability of doing this. Next slide, please. The steps involved, the first one would be switching from a monthly rate to a daily rate. Currently, we only offer monthly program rates, and the way our computer system is set up, to be able to do online registration, we'd have to switch from a monthly rate to a uniform across-the-board daily rate. And I break the rates down in a slide or two, so I'll get more in depth on that and show you the specific changes that need to be made upcoming. Additionally, We need to update our terms and conditions page. Mainly with the switch, it'd be the financial agreement that needs to be updated. The rest of them would be straight from the manual registration packet, moved online with check boxes that they agree or disagree for photo or anything like that. Then we would need to create all the sessions in our online system. I won't get into that too deeply because it's a lot of back office stuff on our end. But with the monthly programs that we currently offer, parents are registered for an entire school year, whether they want to be or not, and then they are automatically billed each month the corresponding amount depending on what program they're in, which is fine for someone who knows they need Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after school every day for the entire school year. But it creates a lot of billing errors that have to be manually fixed when people want to switch their program mid-month, which they have the right to do. Our new proposed daily rate registration periods would be weekly. So instead of having one yearly registration, we would actually have 36 different weekly registrations. And they would only pay for the days they needed each week. But they would need to go on there and register by Sunday for the upcoming week. Or they can, if they wanted to register for the month, they can register for 4 weeks at one time. And then lastly, we need to market effectively to parents just to make them aware of the change in registration procedure. We would do that by creating flyers, having flyers out at our current Kids Club sites, putting it on our HUSD website, sending out e-alerts, and just using our district marketing effectively. Next slide, please. So there are benefits to both parents and staff with the online registration move. The obvious benefit to parents would be the convenience of registering, paying, making changes, updating their personal account information, uploading current immunization records, things of that nature, from any home or mobile device without having to take time off of work or even leave the house. It would also solve a lot of parent complaints, as Karen touched on briefly. Our biggest complaint is our monthly payments during the months that their school breaks. For example, if someone's registered for the $325 a month program, full-time AM, PM, for the month like February, which is a full month of school, they're paying $325 a month. A month like March, which is this month, there's only 11 days of school, still paying $325 a month. How we explain it is it's based on a 180-day school year, broken up evenly over 10 monthly payments. But we think that the move to online registration and the weekly registration periods would solve all of that. Next slide, please. The benefits to staff, it would drastically reduce the amount of foot traffic and phone calls in our office, especially during the weeks leading up to the school year, which is the same time that we're registering for all of our other community education programs. It would all but eliminate the staff hours needed to input registration, and I actually clocked myself doing a few of these the other day, and I'm pretty proficient in the system. It took me about 5 minutes from start to finish per registration, 5 minutes per registration, 2,000 students. We spend a little over 4 weeks, which is a full calendar month, every year just inputting information. And that would be all but taken away with this online registration stuff. Okay. So all registrations currently come through the community education office. All of the Kids Club sites have to have all of the same information. They have to have the immunization records on site. They have to have the emergency contact stuff on site. So our current procedure is that we make copies of those and then either scan them out to the sites, physically drive them out to the sites, or have the site leads come and pick them up from us. With the online registration, all the information would be in the computer system. The site leads would have logins. They can log in, print all the information from all their kids that are enrolled, print their weekly rosters, and they wouldn't have to depend on us for any of that information, which would cure a lot of redundancy that happens. Next slide, please. So the potential obstacles that we can foresee would, one, just be teaching all of the Kids Club program leaders the process of logging in and printing all of that information. Kids Club is somewhat of a revolving door with staff, so it may be some challenging at times to make sure that everybody knows that information, even subs. And then the same would be true for parents. First, informing them of the change in registration and payment procedure, and then instructing parents how to log in, how to register, how to pay. We think that would be challenging initially, but once staff and parents are familiar, it would kind of become second nature. Next slide, please. So before I get into the boring math part of this, just a quick review. We're still taking paper copy registration packets. It's inconvenient for both parents and staff. We have a solution, and it's 2016. We need an online registration. So this is a current pricing model of what we have. The bolded monthly rates on the left are what it costs for each of the different programs, and those are the numbers that are based on a 180-day school year broken up evenly over 10 monthly payments. I broke down all the different rates into daily rates and even further into hourly rates. Those rates are nothing that the public has ever seen unless they went ahead and did the math themselves. But as you can see, there's no consistency whatsoever up there. The hourly rates range from $3.60 to $5.26 on the high end. And in addition to the fact that our computer system requires us to have a uniform set rate to be able to do this, we believe that we have a quality program. And no matter what monthly program the child's enrolled in, or no matter what time of day that they're enrolled in Kids Club, the level of care is the same, so the hourly rate should be the same. Next slide, please. So what we would like to propose is an hourly rate of $4.50. Again, the hourly rate is not something that the public would see, but to keep everything consistent, I broke it all the way down to the hourly rate level and then built the proposed daily rates off of $4.50. So the proposed daily rates that we would like to advertise to the public would be $9 for AM only, which is for 2 hours of care, $13.50 for PM only, which is 3 hours of care, and $22.50 for AM and PM, which is 5 hours of care. And as Karen mentioned also, we would be proposing to discontinue the registration fee because parents will be registering themselves. Next slide. So this last slide is just a comparison between our districts and the surrounding districts. As you can see from up there, we're lower in some areas and higher in others. We're overall cheaper than Gilbert, who currently offers the same weekly registration that we have. And there are other multiple reasons that the surrounding districts are cheaper than us. Shorter program length, difference in staff pay. They have less program options. Some of them don't start until 6:30. We start at 6 a.m. And a lot of those bigger districts gets a lot more money from DES funding than we do. So that is it.
There's just one other thing I'd like to say. The best thing about this is we have run through we did this in the summer to try it, and it worked beautifully. But the best thing about that is the people have to pay beforehand. We spend hours in collections. We're educators, we're not bill collectors. It's a horrible thing to call preschool parents or parents saying you're behind, your child can't come. This gets us out of that because they have to pay when they go online. Now, we'll still work with people. I have many people that are on a payment plan. We're going to continue doing good customer service, but oh, what a relief to get the bill collecting off of our shoulders. So do you have any questions?
I do have, President Reese, I do have one question. So they're going to put all of the registration information online. Oh, is that like the personal information?
Yes, that's the blue card that the state requires us. Yes, that's all going to be online.
And is that okay? Because we still don't do that with our regular student blue card information.
I was going to ask, is it an approved system by the state of Arizona, DHS?
Yes, it is.
Jennifer did right. Yes.
Because they only have 2 systems that they allow electronically, because that blue card information has to be that blue card with a physical signature. So
yes,
I know, like I said, I know they only allow, excuse me, there's only 2 electronic programs that DHS allows, and having that information you can't adapt that blue card whatsoever. There can be 0 changes to it.
Well, I think you'd have your general registration information, such as what times and days and address and such, and then I would assume the emergency contact information that's separate. You would still have to have the physical.
We talked, the blue card, according to the districts that do it, when the site leader gets the information, they have to print it out because DHS requires the notebook. The first day, there's going to have to be a staff member assigned because we have to have the written signature on that document from the parent.
So yeah, as long as that actual document is exact to the DHS blue card that they provide, then we would be okay. But if there is any deviation, and I don't know which program this is, but if there is any deviation from that exact blue card that DHS puts out, then you are
That
in
is correct.
violation. So I just wanted to make
Right.
sure.
We'll
I mean,
definitely
there's,
check that.
because there's a lot of programs out there that are really nice, and there are lots that are approved for other states. Arizona's not been so kind to allow people to go more electronic, and you can't deviate from it whatsoever, and that makes it a little difficult. So
We'll
I just
make
want to make
sure
sure we
we'll-
stay in compliance there.
Absolutely, because they would close us down if we're not.
Well, and I would hate to spend all that money for all this training and software and upgrading to find out we can't use it, to we can't move on. So I would just hate for, I mean, it's great, I know, but I would just hate for us to
Okay.
end
We
up not being
understand.
able to use it like we would like to.
Thank you.
The payment piece is awesome.
Now, as an option, you can choose individual weeks, but you can also go in and choose the whole year at one time, correct? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you.
You know,
Hopefully it's-
thank you for taking the initiative on this online, because this younger generation of millenniums who are bringing their children must be really taken back when you say, I have to fill out a form and bring it in. I mean, I know.
Especially dads,
Yes,
because they don't
yes.
know the information.
Yeah, you know.
Well, and then you can't read it, so you're trying to figure
Right.
out what it says.
Trying to understand their emails. Oh my, their handwriting. That's difficult. We have to have emails.
So this is, thank you for bringing this to 2016.
Thank you.
Very nice, thank you. All right, 9.4. We have our first read of amendment to policy, here we go, JGABB, admission of exchange and foreign students.
Actually, it's JFABB. I don't know what your document says, but that's what the policy is. I would like to recommend that we make one change, one addition. This is just the first read, and if that's all right with everybody, then on the second, it would be presented in that way. The paragraph, the new paragraph that we have in there ends with additional students. We currently, this is current practice, that 3 students are admitted without tuition to each of the high schools, and then additional ones can be upon the payment of tuition. And this says the amount of tuition determined by the superintendent. That, of course, isn't uniform for all the students, but in looking at it, after I had written it, it occurred to me that I would just like to add, which shall be uniform for all students. No concern whatsoever that the current administration would not follow that, but just so everybody looks at it and understands it to be that way, I would like to add that phrase on there, and that's the way you'll see it when it comes back for a second read. Okay?
Anyone else do you have any questions on? Okay. So then we'll bring that back for a second read. All right, 9.5. I move that we approve the revisions to the 2016-17 high school course guide with the revisions listed. It updates, it adds some classes.
I'll second so we can discuss.
Yeah. Thank you. So we are adding some courses, adding AVID course for Williamsfield High School, AP Computer Science for Higley High School. Can we have an explanation of the physical education weights 1, 2?
President Reese, members of the board, I'm going to ask either Mrs. Redner or Dr. Wadawa to come up. They're the most familiar with the changes that were put into this revision. If you remember back before winter break, you approved the course guide, and that allowed the high schools to start registering students for this coming year, which we really needed to do. But always in the course of that process, things come up, and these are the few minor revisions for this next school year. So, Mrs. Redner?
President Reese, members of the board, the PE changes, if you look at the original and then what we're suggesting for the changes are based on a prerequisite, so they have to be in 9th grade to take a class, and then we had inadvertently put 9th on those weights classes in the original.
Okay, so it references freshman academies for the athletic weight training. So it's for grade levels 10, 11, 12, and then freshman academies.
Correct, so those students can take it on the third one?
Under athletic weight training for PE.
Right. Right, I'm sorry, yes.
Sure. So is it open to the freshman academies?
I believe so,
But if
yes.
you're not in one of those academies, you can't take it as a 9th
Right.
grader. You have to wait 10th, 11th, and
Correct.
12th. Okay.
And that was just a
then,
misprint.
So will that will it specify, because the academies are only at Williamsfield right now?
Correct.
So that it's not going to be available to any freshmen at Higley High School.
So we can add that Williamsfield right next to that.
Okay.
Sure.
Just so with it being freshman academies, it's one course guide, but we have two different things.
Makes sense.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. It's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
In reference to computer science classes, for some reason not offering it
At this time, we're going to need the continuum, and when I spoke to the teacher and the principal at that time, they wanted to just have it as the one class, so we'll start it this year. Speaking to Mrs. Diab-Scott, our move will be for the following year to move it. Our math coach and I have had many conversations with them, yes. And the principals have been part of that, and the assistant principals, yes. Yes. It lines up as best as we understood it, absolutely.
Last year, they had our students tested at math classes that they tested at remedial, and they tested really well in high school, that they can have a waiver to test things on that. Was there a conversation about continuing that this year?
I've not had that conversation. Okay.
So we are adding several dual enrollment classes.
I'm sorry.
We're adding several dual enrollment math
Well, like I
classes.
said, the computer science next year will not be, but that will be the conversation next year during the,
But AP statistics, we're adding that as a dual enrollment.
right.
And AP calculus AB, we're adding that as a dual enrollment.
So a lot of them, so we're on math.
Yes.
A lot of it, we had to change to align to those conversations.
Perfect.
President Reese.
Mrs. Whitener.
As far as the AVID and computer science, if kids have already registered, did they know AVID was coming? Do they know to look for it? Do
Yes,
they know?
the counselors have had those conversations with the students when they went to the middle schools. They had the conversations, and then the registration process internally, the counselors and the principals are having those conversations with the students and families as well.
Okay. As far as the math with the dual enrollment and/or science, are there any changes in the tracks that have been predetermined? Are kids moving tracks? The one is omitted. Is that just because there's not enough students who will take that?
We added the support class instead, which is listed, which was on the original, which was in the original. So it gives them,
Okay, and what's that class called?
so the algebraic functions A will just, the algebraic functions A is just algebraic functions B. Before it had both of them in there. It's a name change for the most part. It just again aligns.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And it was really confusing because it was called AB and it's the same thing.
Like AP, calculus, BC, AB,
It's
BC.
very confusing.
Yes. Right, any other questions?
Not this time.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, 9.6,
President Reese,
Mrs. Whitener.
I move that the governing board approve the continuation of the teacher's grandfathered status and payments of stipends in the amounts based upon the 2006-07 salary schedule in reference to National Board Certification stipend.
Support.
Any questions, comments, concerns? This was discussed in an executive session on February 24th with the board and our superintendent. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0. All right. Future agenda items. We still have food service update. We talked about coming back to the high school scheduling piece as soon as possible, so we'll talk about a date for that.
And with that, including a conversation with transportation, times, schedules.
Any other future agenda items? All right. 11.0, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Thank you. Have a good night.